like to point out, what do you think of this beautiful lectern? That I might say that that modest gentleman over there hiding behind the speaker designed and built this, and it is a wonderful asset to people who can't remember what they were supposed to say. And I'm number one on that list. First, I'd like to tell you a little story, and it shouldn't take too long, but I see sitting down here, I see Tommy King. Now, Tommy King is a tremendous musician. If you know it all, and if you've been around Lakefield, he can play the harmonica like you wouldn't believe. He's also a good volunteer for the community, and he'd do almost anything that he's asked. A few years ago, Don Hendren, our local undertaker, called Tom and asked if Tom could do him a favor. Well, I'll try, said Tom. Well, Don said, we've been called to bury this homeless man who was down and out. No family, no friends, and I was wondering if you could just possibly play at the burial. I sure will, Tom said. So we got the directions, and they were up east of Apsley. And Tom said, no problem. I know that country like the back of my hand. The day came, and sure enough, Tom got lost. He drove around nearly every back road and every laneway in Chandos Township. Still couldn't find the cemetery. Tom knew he was going to be late, but by God, he had an obligation and he was going to live up to it. He was going to do his job and do it well. That's just the kind of guy Tom is. Finally, he come over a hill, down around a bend, and there it was. And was he ever late? Let me tell you, the hearse had gone, the clergy had gone, and even Don Hendren had gone. Only the grave diggers were left there, and they had the lid on the casket and were filling it in shovel by shovel. Well, muttered Tom, I'll do my best like I said I would. He softly walked up and without a word began to play at the edge of the grave. He played his heart and soul out for this poor soul. And what a great choice of song he had. How great thou art. And then Amazing Grace. And with such emotion that the tears rolled right down Tom's cheeks. The grave diggers were spellbound, solemnly leaning on their shovels and looking on. And Tom said it appeared to him that they too were weeping. When Tom finished, his music had said it all. There was no need for conversation. As he gestured farewell, he bowed his head and left with a fine feeling in his heart, knowing that he had done his best. As he made his way back to his vehicle, he heard one of the workmen say, that was just amazing. I've never seen anything like it in all the 30 years I've been putting in septic tanks. That is my speech. There's something else here. Okay. So keep up the good work, Tommy. How many of you brought your walking shoes? Well, come with me, at least in mind and in memory, and we'll take you for a walk down the main street. All we ever call it is the main street, but its proper name is Queen Street. Our walk is taking place just the way we found it in the era from 1943 to about 1947. There's no need to protect the innocent, because everybody's innocent. We refer to real people and real places. Well, I'll meet you outside of the Marjorie Ann Tea Room, okay? On Regent Street, across from the Anglican Church. Herb Brown will think he's going to be real busy tonight when we all gather there, but we'll fool him. We'll come back later for some French fries and pop. I hope Herb will let me charge tonight, because I paid my tab up with him last week. John Grells, his grandson, never works here. In fact, John Grells never works anywhere. We cross the street, stroll down, and as we chat back and forth about people and things, just the usual in Lakefield. Well, here's that funeral home. The owner, Ken Tedford, has one in Norwood, too. Eric Anderson manages this one for him. It's where Dr. Smith used to live, And I think his son Don is going through for a doctor too. That good-looking guy, Jim Andrews, he works here. But I hear he's going out with that Della Hockaday, so girls, just hold back, you're out of luck. Look at this Christ Church sitting vacant. It's too bad they wouldn't do something with it. Well, they use it sometimes for Boy Scout meetings. Oh, I see Mr. McKercher out there pushing his lawnmower. Hi, Mr. McKercher. What are you keeping busy at now that you're retired from the bank? I guess you're counting your own money now, eh? Spence's grocery store. Gee, we have a lot of grocery stores in Lakefield. I think there are 6. Yeah, 6 is right, yeah. The two brothers, George and Perce, they run this store. But which one is Gene and Dave's father? Oh, it's George, that's who it is. And you say Edith Jenkins is their sister? Yeah. Oh, and there's the other brothers, Walter and Bob. They must be older because I don't know them. My 2 friends, John Pugh and Bill Down, they work here at Spence's. And Dave Spence, he drives them around all the time. We sure envy them. No bike, no rain for them. They get free pop, and Dave shares his peanuts with them. Now, the Royal Bank. This bank always seems to do so well. Mr. Robertson, the new manager, moved here with his family, Kay, Richard, and Malcolm. We like them. They're nice. Well, there's Frank Erskine in his hardware store, counting out nails. You know, with all that coal oil and naphtha gas that he has in there and he sells, it could go up in flames anytime. Did you ever mention that to your dad, Kitty? And where is Frances today? Oh, I forgot. She's at the cottage. Hi, Grace, we said to Grace Young as we passed T.C. Young's grocery store on the corner. Grace is the secretary for our public school, and she has been for years. Her dad, T.C., is very involved with the Gospel Chapel down by Roy Bullock's blacksmith shop. He teaches Sunday school, and he's a real nice man. I worked for him and Grace delivering groceries, and they even supplied the bike. Some smart Alex called him up the other day and said, Mr. Young, do you save bad girls? Well, between me and the Lord, we try, he said. Well, save us a couple for Saturday night. and they hung up. But the operator at Central, Alice Simpson, he was listening in. And he told their parents, they won't be so smart again, I'll tell you that. T.C. Young gives both people a dime. If you bring someone new to Sunday school with you, he give each of you a dime. I made a pile of money out of that. There's Mucker Hall in Porter's grocery store. Boy, they have a lot of owners at Porter's Grocery. I hear Mucker's right name is Judson. At least that's what Mike Wanamaker told me. Mike works there calling on houses, selling bread, taking grocery orders. He carries that big wicker basket, and it's bigger than he is. Always whistling, a real nice man. I think he's a part owner too, if you want to know the truth. Joyce and Myrna are his kids. We know them from school. Have you been in Molly Thompson's Green Lantern shop lately? She's a fine lady and she carries all the best comic books. I always buy the Superman ones, but Red Ryder, he's good too, you know. She sells yarn and stuff too. Do you knit, Neil? I'll get lost. I don't think she or her sister, Betty, ever were married. Now, wouldn't Molly Maid be a catchy name now? Did you know that Jean Redpath, Charlie's mother, is a sister too and a teacher? Yeah, well, her husband, Jimmy Redpath, is chairman of the public school board, and he puts out our Lakefield paper. Dave Webster has the furniture store, and it's closed most of the time. I hear he hasn't been too well, so that's probably why. He's got to be quite old. He sure is. He's over 60, you know. They used to do undertaking and funerals, but they don't now. Well, here's Freddie Wanamaker's restaurant, the Coronation Inn. He makes great hamburgers. Well, they darn well should. He charges 20 cents each for them, and pops a dime. Red Wanamaker, that runs the shoe repair store next door, is he a brother? Yeah, he's a brother. And so is Harry, the school teacher. There's lots of Wanamakers in this town, you know, but not enough, because they're all nice people. Way back, I think they're all related. Anybody need a haircut? This is Dave Miller's barbershop. He gives real good brush cuts for 35 cents. But most of us get our hair cut at home, and we look that part too. Oh, well, my dad says, don't tell anybody. Keep it under your hat. It'll grow out. Yeah. He thinks that's really funny and smart. But it's no joke to me. I'm the guy that has to walk around with a haircut. Oh, well, most of my friends are the same way. Have you ever seen Dave Miller's daughter Jean tap dance? Light as a feather. And she has those dancing shoes with real clippers on the soles, too. Yeah. And Elwood Northey. We call him Butts. His wife, Chris, is a druggist, too. I really like him. Butts always chats and kids us young people and makes us feel worthwhile. The way many of these oldies treat us kids, you'd think we were carrying typhoid fever. They tell me Butts was a real good ball player when he was young. He grew up in Lakefield, but he met his wife when he was away at university. Butts sure is special. Not many from Lakefield ever went to university. And if they did, they sure didn't come back here. Mary and Joan and their kids work in the store sometimes, and Joan hangs around a bit with us. 5 cent to $1 store. That's my kind of money, especially the nickel part. They got everything. Jack Ryan owns it. And he and his sister, Mrs. Giraldi, she works for them. They're the only Catholics in town that have a business. The only Catholic business in town. But then a good bargain knows no religion. They give lots of summer jobs to Protestant kids, too. They're real nice people, and they're just as good as we are. Here's Martin Holland's clothing store. I hear the family is moving to Peterborough. But he'll still keep the store here, you know. Our whole family can shop there. Son Phil works there a lot now, but I guess they want him to go to school in Peterborough, so that's why they're moving. They're Jewish. It's supposed to be different, but they look just like everybody else. Sid Hutt's pool room. He won't let anyone play there until they're 14 years old, unless you have a note. I know some guys whose friends wrote them a note. We think Sid really knew, but to him, the money is more important than the note. Read all about it. The Lakefield News. The owner is Jimmy Ridpath, that we were talking about. Someone said that his brother Bruce won the Stanley Cup playing hockey for Ottawa. Yeah, that's absolutely true. I was talking to Chubby Blewett and asked him about it, and Chubby Blewett said, yeah, he did that. Chubby thought it was in the year 1912. Oh, gee, won a Stanley Cup, played in the NHL. Gee, I'd like to have seen him. Just if I could have just laid eyes on him. We never knew him, but he's dead now, you know. He died real young, hit by a car with a drunk driver in Toronto. Never played hockey again, and never really got over his injuries. Gee, I would have liked to have seen him. Warren Payne, here he is, another grocery store. I'm pretty sure he used to work at Spence's store before he went out on his own. He's Pete's father, you know. Pete. Who's Pete? Is that Cameron? Yeah, that's Cameron. Gee, why does everybody in Lakefield have to have a nickname? It's almost like you're talking in code. Yeah, Teddy Crawford's Butcher Shop. It's been going for a long time. Teddy's getting pretty old. I think Sam Trude worked for him at one time, you know. Sam was Harold's father. Yeah. And here's Beecher Blake's Grocery and Meat. I don't think any of the other grocery stores sell meat also. Why would he have to do both? Is that his first name or a nickname too? He hasn't been in Lakefield very long, I'll tell you that. They say he doesn't let you charge, so he won't do much business in this town, I'll tell you that. His boy Gord's a regular guy, though. Now we're at the post office on the corner. We all come here nearly every day, hoping to get something other than bills. Mrs. Isaiah Graham got 3 letters from her boys last week. I don't know why they didn't build it on ground level. Our older people just hate going up and down these steps. Tommy Chaplin is the postmaster. He used to be the principal of our public school. I don't think he would make near as much money here as postmaster. And he sure doesn't get a week off at Christmas and Easter and 2 months off in the summer either, I'll tell you that. He always kids and teases people. And he teases me. Does he do that to you? I guess he just misses us young people. Now, here around the corner is Theodore Crawford. He sells men's and ladies' wear. He'll come right out onto the street and tell you about something new he's just got in. Just picked it up at the train station from Walter Yale. Should see it, it's really nice. Theodore's just a walking, talking billboard. He's way too old-fashioned for us, but a lot of the older ones shop here. That daughter of his, Merle, she's a good looker and a real lady. She's never been married. I'm sure someone will come along someday and catch her fancy. I don't know if he's related to Teddy the butcher or not. I gotta ask somebody. Well, I'm not gonna cross those two bridges, I'll tell you that, to go over to Tiny Hill's store. Likely he won't be open anyway. He'll be fishing. Great old guy though, and he has hundreds of funny stories to tell. He'll stand on the bridge and look up the river and say, I'm just waiting for my island to come floating down. Yeah. He was telling us one day about jumping off the smoke strap in his rubber boots. And he said, I've never been so hungry. I bounced for 3 weeks. I know a few of you girls, you want us to go across the bridge over to Kentucky to see if that Gordy Coyle's working at the crab, eh? Well, just relax. If you just realize it, there are a few good hunks this side of it. Let's cross the street over to West Leonard's Hardware. He just took the gas pumps out. They were right out here in front on the edge of the street. I guess with gas ration and all the men away in the war, he didn't see the need for them. It's a wonder some car hasn't smashed into them anyhow and saved them the trouble of taking them out. Wes isn't there much now. His son Jack looks after it most of the time. A lot of the people don't know the other son, Ted. He's an engineer. He works away all the time. Ted is Peter and John's father. We always call John Sweet Pea, but I don't know why. Just another one of those nicknames. Sweet Pea went to the Grove for a while, but that don't matter. He's still a good guy. The old guy across the street here in the corner is Carl Simpson. He always has a little cigar stuck in his mouth. I've never seen it lit. I'm not going to repeat what we call him. He sharpens skates, saws, scissors, and fixes bicycles. We don't like these people who have stores in Lakefield, but they live in Peterborough. Are they too good for us? Some people say he's a German spy. My dad said to me, he said, Neil, it's just that he spells his name Carl with a K. He's not no spy. What have we got here in Lakefield he want to spy on anyway? Would he tell Hitler about the housewives whose washing doesn't hang out white enough? Now, Barney Edwards' barber shop. He's married to one of the Bolton girls, you know. Do you get your hair cut here or at Miller's? Well, I get it cut here sometimes if I want a store-bought one, because I chum with his son Murray, who we call Sonny. Those darn nicknames again. My older brothers, they like his daughter, Donna. Here's our telephone switchboard, the exchange. We call it Central. It's attached to the south side of Tanner's drugstore. They have operators here all the time to connect the calls when you tell them the number you want. If any of you girls want to call me, my number is 340J. A lot of young girls work here. There's someone here all night, usually Alice Simpson, who's kind of the manager. They get to know all the news by listening in, but they aren't supposed to tell anyone. But I think they do tell the ones who won't say where it came from. Now the other drugstore, Charlie Tanner's. He's getting old, but aren't we all? None of his kids, Charlie Jr., George, Jean, or Margaret, seem to be interested in taking it over. So he'll likely sell it. He used to sell eyeglasses, and his slogan was, see Tanner, see better. Upstairs was the dental practice of Dr. Renwick. It was like pulling teeth to climb up those stairs. This nice big old house here is the funeral home of George Hendron. Dr. Moore lived here before them, and his son Dinty. George was in the Boer War, so he must be real old. I hear his son Don, who goes with that Cora Charlton girl, is going to go into the business with him when now that he's home from the Air Force. A lot of our boys were killed over there, especially the Air Force. Mark Bullock, Jim Crow, Jack Morrison were just a few that I knew, and too many Army guys lost their lives there too. I'm told that Mr. Hendron is looking for a better place, as there's no parking here. People don't want to have the wake in their house anymore. They used to hang a dark wreath on the door so that you would respect their sorrow. Some still do that. Gee, it must be awful to die. There's Alf Hudson's second-hand store. Boy, has he got one pile of junk there. And he sells a lot of it, too. It just looks like it's waiting for the biggest bonfire Lakefield will ever have if someone put a match to it. People live up over the front of it, too, you know. Up and down those stairs all the time. Not for me. One good thing, though, you'd see and hear everything that happens on the main street. Are we going into the commercial to listen to the jukeboxes? Does anyone have a nickel? I just love that new song. Mares eat oats and goes away. Grumpy old Bill Peacock. He used to scare me, but he's gone. With his niece Pearl there now, she's real nice. Yeah, old Bill always wore that white duck peak cap, and he grunted, "What do you want?" If you look up miserable in the dictionary, you'll find Bill Peacock's name and maybe even his picture. Here's Aunt Nellie's tinsmiths and plumbing shop. They can make anything. Ralph just joins the Air Force, but Jack works there, but he's still in high school. They say he's really clever, really smart. Isabel and Grace are nice girls too, really nice girls. And Isabel will walk through a 50-acre field just to smile and say hello. She'll make a great wife for someone someday, I'll tell you that. There's the garage where George Hendron stores his cars, his caskets, embalms dead people, and runs his taxi business. He has the ambulance there too. Hope I never have to do business with him. I'll fight it to the very end. Right here on the corner is Arnold Graham's shoe store, which he just opened. He sells and repairs shoes too. Puts those big sparky half-moon clickers on the heels. Don't know if there'll be enough business for him and Red Wanamaker both, though. Here we are at Reed Street. Judge O.A. Langley has an office upstairs, here above Arnie Graham's. I didn't think judges still work, do they? They say he's really fair, really a fair judge, but I don't ever want to be charged with anything. Guilty or not, your reputation is gone. That vacant lot and building across Reed Street used to be a service station. Behind it there's the Lakefield Dairy. Lots of competition for milk in this town. Kemp's, Darling's, Glenwood Farms, and this one. They all deliver milk. But this is the only one that makes butter. Well, look, kids, we're going to have to finish this walk another time. I got to go and deliver my papers, the Examiner, because tonight's collecting, it will take me a long time. The paper just went up to 18 cents a week. I get 3 cents, and I have to give 15 cents to the Examiner. 2 customers have quit because of the increase in price. Others won't answer the door. They peek out through the curtains. That's okay. I guess they haven't got any money. I know all about that, because I haven't got any money either. See you tonight, about 6:30 at hers, if Dad will let me out. Thank you.
Well, that was wonderful, Neil. As usual, you increased your popularity.
Exceeded all my father and mother's expectations.
Absolutely. And what a treat that was. We've expected great things of him tonight, and of course he's produced again. And just help me thank him once more.
I just have to say one little word, and it's in jest, but it isn't really in jest. Some of you people will say how bad my memory is. This wasn't right, that wasn't right, and so on. I tell you what, we're always looking for speakers. Next month, you're on.
So surely someone has a question or two about Neil, Neil's walk down Main Street. Are there certain people that he didn't mention?
Well, those who have lived in Lakefield would appreciate the bit of the story. Like Frank Erskine's hardware store, selling that naphtha gas and coal oil, burnt right to the ground. That's where the Royal Bank is now, burnt to the ground. Alf Hudson's second-hand store, burnt right to the ground. A very memorable file, wasn't it, Stephen? Our firefighters fought valiantly and long hours against terrible odds to conquer the fire. I gotta tell you, he shall go nameless, but we happened to have a party the same night. We had 1A ball championship, and were we living it up, you know. It's the first one we've won that week. Anyway, so two of the firemen were celebrating with us. And so we took them home at 1:30, or two of their hoses all over the main street, and the place was on fire and so on and whatnot. And two of the firemen the next day, we drove over the hoses, bumpity bump, 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 and we didn't want to stop because, not me, but some of the guys were drinking. So we drove home over the hose. The next day, one of the principal members of the fire department said, "What fire? Where? I didn't." God bless them. I'll not tell you who it was.
Any questions about this? We can challenge some of his memory here. We think it's a little faulty in some areas.
Were you born in Lakefield, Neil?
No, I'm glad you asked me that. I wanted to just comment. I'd like to say I wasn't born in Lakefield, but I got here as soon as I could. I wanted to comment. I should have given you a little preamble to know what was going, to warn you beforehand, because I wrote this month and a half ago, based on my memories of my time when I was a kid. And we came here from Warsaw when I was 6 years of age, and basically, Warsaw was a fine place and we could handle things there, but this was like moving to Metro Toronto. Anyway, we came here, and the first 6 months or so, I never got down street, but one time I went down street and I was to meet my brother Cameron, my older brother. He's 8 years older than me. He was versed in the big city things. So I'm down there. He must have had some girl or something that he was chasing, and I was there bawling my eyes out in the main street, and along came Jack Shitting and said, "What's the matter, young fella?" And I said, "Well, I don't know where your brother is." And he said, "Don't you worry about a thing. You get on these handlebars and I'll take you up home, because I'm going up to school there and I know where you live." Which, that was my first knowledge of your husband and your father, Darla, and I certainly loved them then, and it hasn't changed since. But I wanted to also tell you that I told that story just the way we were in those years. And it was the social customs of small town, probably call it ignorance if you wish, but that's what it was. And political correctness was an unknown and would have been ridiculed as being phony if it had existed at that time. And that's the era that we wrote it, and that's the era that I tried to speak it. I couldn't tell you about these businesses and use modern day terminology and so on, because that's... Thank you. As I was going on here was somewhat amazing. It's I got reflecting. The inner psyche was saying, "Neil, you've already made a fool of yourself. Don't start explaining why and how."
Well, it's wonderful to have Neil as our vice president of the Historical Society, because whenever we run out of speakers, we can always call on Neil. Wonderful. So thanks for everything, Neil. Do we have a special prize for Neil, Sheila? Do we have a gift, a $50 gift or something like that? No? Sorry, Neil.
I'm glad to believe that the speaker always got something.
We're really sorry, but... So I think that pretty well concludes our evening tonight, and all we really need, I think, is a motion to adjourn the meeting. Could we have a mover of such a motion? No? Everybody wants more? Anyway, all in favor? Thank you so much. Do have a look at these pictures on the display. They're marvelous.
They're just fantastic pictures there. I hope you'll all take the time just to file by slowly and have a look at them. Sheila has just assembled a wonderful display of Lakefield in the 40s, 30s.
This is sort of a prelude to what you can expect to see next month.
This is